A little testing, and then we'll be kicking off the overtime. A couple more things I need to check out here, so give me 1 or 2 minutes, and then hopefully we'll be kicking into overtime mode. Hello. Let's take another crack at this. So I've been prepping our audio here, trying to get the clip levels just right. And different clips obviously have different levels, so I just kind of have to get a range. We got so many things to get into today that I really want to get started, but I'm going to do one more. It'll be just like a live stream only clip just for you guys.
Have fired back after the social media giant tests a new tool that splits news feeds. It's also considering charging companies to show their posts. With more on this, here's Polly Boyka.
There we go. You're getting there now.
Well, this is potentially one of the biggest changes to the way Facebook works since its inception 13 years ago, and it's basically trying out a new feature that's called Explore. It offers users things from further afield that they wouldn't normally have in their news feeds. But in 6 countries, in Sri Lanka, Bolivia, Slovakia, Serbia, Guatemala, and Cambodia, that experiment has gone further afield. Users in those countries have had their news feeds purged completely of news posts unless it's sponsored content. So any news organization that wants its posts to come up in the users of those countries' news feeds will have to pay for the privilege. And the news organizations in those countries are already feeling the effects. They're talking about a drop in organic reach. A Slovakian journalist has written a piece all about how they've had 4 times fewer interactions since these changes came in. News organizations, of course, rely on Facebook as a way of getting more hits on their posts. A lot of stuff goes viral through Facebook specifically, so it's a vital tool for publishers. And it's not just concern from smaller news organizations and the non-mainstream ones, but it's also a concern further down the line for freedom of the press in general, because by creating a barrier that creates a need for publishers to pay for people to see what they're posting, you're effectively curating the news agenda, or dare I say it, potentially censoring it as well. So at the same time, you've got Facebook telling news organizations to calm down and get a grip. This is what the head of its news feed had to say in response to the concerns in a Facebook post. Take a listen.
The goal of this test is to understand if people prefer to have separate places for personal and public content. We will hear what people say about the experience to understand if it's an idea worth pursuing any further. There is no current plan to roll this out beyond these test countries, or to charge pages on Facebook to pay for all of the distribution in Newsfeed or Explore.
Smaller news organisations awake at night there is current. He said there are no current plans, so they're clearly leaving the option open. That's got a lot of news outlets worried. Now, the Slovakian journalist that has alerted the online world to this issue, he doesn't think it's going to work. He says the news feed without news is going to alert users pretty quickly to how utterly boring their friends are.
Well, the online community did lash out, saying that the social media network will be supplying people what they want to hear, also severing the link between the organisations and users. So Facebook then...
Oh, let's play them off. Okay, let's get going here. 256 is queued up and ready to go. Levels are set in. It's a good starting song, really, if I need one. All right, let's do it. So please help me name this beast as we get into it. Obviously, probably it would be better to wait for the main show, I suppose. But this one, I don't know. Better open up the Diet Pepsi for this one, guys. I think we're gonna have a good show, though. Fired up and ready to go. Oh, jeez. Man, that was my dick. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so let's see. We got Nick and Carl and RR and Hugh and Drew. Okay. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty fired up and ready to go. I think let's just do this thing. Beep 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 beep, dialing it all in. Beep 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 beep. Oh, ba 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 ba. So Gnome MPV is working again for me. Gnome MPV, it works for me. All right. A moment of silence, and then we'll begin. In a 3. In a 2. You can't always believe eyewitness reports. The Unfilter show isn't over. Some might say it's just beginning. It's overtime! Overtime! Overtime!
And I know that each of you understand you have the power. Stay woke!
Yes! 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 Indeed, thank you to Nick, Carl, RR, Hugh, and Drew, our 5 new patrons this week. Thank you. You're fabulous. You're our fabulous 5 over at patreon.com/unfilter. This segment is dedicated to you and all of our supporters and future supporters at patreon.com/unfilter. We have quite a bit to get into. I'm feeling good about today's overtime, guys, because it's like a traditional Power Zone overtime. We're going to talk about some stories that still have legs for some reason, that just keep getting stranger. We're going to showcase McCain getting grumpy as hell. I love it. I'm not a big fan of McCain, but I do kind of like grumpy tell it as it is McCain. We're going to show that. But first, we got to start with the Oh Nancy segment. I mean, we got it. It's a good one this week. Nancy's in full force out there, getting the Nancy Pelosi message out. And so we have several things to choose from. And we're going to sit here together, get some popcorn, and break it all down. Take it away, Nancy. She goes on Morning Joy and gets the hard question today.
Reid and I will do it now. We have the control. In between, it was all presidential. Yeah. All presidential.
So let's talk about the potential for that. If, let's say, Democrats were to retake the House,
Yeah.
There is still a contingent on the left side of the Democratic Party, and it's ironic because you are, of course, also a liberal member of the party, that would like to see you ousted as leader. If the Democrats were to retake the House, do you foresee a challenge to your leadership?
Well, with all
We're already off to a good start. So this has been, see, the bigger question here is if they can get some substantial gains, will they go after Trump? Will they impeach Trump? And Nancy is not a fan of the whole impeach thing.
Do you foresee a challenge to your leadership?
well, with all due respect, I disagree with your characterization. I have an overwhelming support of my caucus. There's some people there who disagree with me, and that's okay. But I would not say that it's a challenge from.
Yeah.
Because I am on the left.
Yeah, you are on the left.
I am left. But if anything, that they use the fact that I'm a progressive in the ads against me. They'll talk about the fact that I'm from San Francisco.
She holds up her pride watch.
And that I'm a San Francisco liberal and the rest of that.
They don't really.
So that's not what it is. It's about other people's ambition, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But you know what? I got to fight the tax bill. I've got to fight the assault on the Affordable Care Act.
Absolutely.
So it's not just this one show. In fact, it's coming up over and over again. Every public appearance Nancy Pelosi is making, people are asking about challenging her on her leadership.
We're back with Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi.
Oh my gosh. So they have Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi on here, and the host doesn't even get that right. How do you not get that right in the intro? This is ABC's The View.
We're back with Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi. You recently had dinner with Trump,
Yes.
and we heard a lot about that dinner, but can you take us inside and tell us a little bit how that played out?
Well, we had an invitation, Chuck Schumer and I, Leader Schumer, very proud of the New York Yankee.
What? I'm sorry, what did you say? And they just start clapping for her because they've all figured out what she's trying to say, I think.
Leader Schumer, very proud of the New York Yankee.
Yes. Yeah, of course, I don't know what you're saying, but yes.
The New York Yankee. Yankees today. Pretty exciting. The president invited us to dinner. Part of what we wanted to say to him is we have some challenges with some of the things you've done in terms of the Affordable Care Act, walking away from the Paris Agreement.
DACA was one of the reasons.
Well, we'll get to DACA, but you know, we had a list of concerns that we were disappointed in the president's actions on them, and said,
you know what, Mr. Trump, we're disappointed in you. Something tells me that's not how the conversation went.
we need a confidence builder. We need a threshold we have to cross.
Now that I do believe, a confidence builder. We need a confidence builder. We need a show of good faith.
Said we need a confidence builder. We need a threshold we have to cross together where we have our shared values. And for us, that is DACA, because it's on a very short fuse from what he had done. He didn't have to do that. That was really heartbreaking that he did what he did. You could say to Congress, pass a law, but not, I'm putting a timetable on it. So we said to the president, this is our threshold.
This is the deal we need. This is what we need you to do for us to cooperate.
If we can have agreement on this and confidence, then we can do other things. But if we don't have that confidence, it'd be very hard to go to other things. The president said, you know, he supported the DREAM Act. Now, we didn't have agreement yet on the...
But he said he supported the DREAM Act in that meeting.
Yes, and in the previous meeting, he said if it came to his desk, he would sign it.
But then he changed it the next day, I think, or a week later. He said there was...
Now, this is interesting. What happens next is Nancy Pelosi defends Donald Trump. This deal is very important to her.
No deal. So,
well, there was no deal on there was never a deal. The only agreement was he would support the DREAM Act. We would work with him on some border issues. We have a responsibility to protect our border. We don't have a...
We have a responsibility to protect our border. So she's even willing to come to his side a little bit.
On some border issues. We have a responsibility to protect our border. We don't have a responsibility to turn on have the Dreamers start a reign of terror in our country by their going after their families and other people. But this is about, I mean, every president we have had, Ronald Reagan was great. I mean, I'm talking recent history. Ronald Reagan, George Herbert Walker Bush, our Democratic presidents for sure, George W. Bush, have always been very respectful of what immigration means to our country. This is the first president who's made this departure.
The first, you guys.
And in a very negative way. And it's unfortunate. But nonetheless, he said he supports the Dreamers. I think he supports the Dreamers because the American people support the Dreamers.
Yes.
It's a beautiful, lovely thing. Not because of us, but because of who the Dreamers are.
Yes.
So, you know, you can only, shall we say, I have confidence that the president would not walk away from his support for the Dreamers.
Really?
Now, one thing...
You hear Joy? Really?
Not walk away from his support for the Dreamers.
Really?
Now, one thing that was interesting at is we wanted to talk, we said, if we can come to this...
Don't worry, we're almost done. I'm making you watch her babble through this for a very specific reason here.
We wanted to talk, we said, if we can come to this place and we prove that it happens, then we can talk about other subjects. Well, some of the and so they would ask me a question I was answering, and some of the cabinet members who were at the table, I was the only woman at the table, and that's why I have to stay there to.
Oh, wait a minute now. Hold on now. So watch Nancy. Boy, she looks angry in that still. She realizes she's at a table full of women in a show that's watched by women, and it clicks with her that, wait a minute, this is my power stroke, and she doubles down on, this is why these challenges to my leadership are short-sighted. Essentially what she's about to say is, all you idiots who want me out as leader, you're going to take one of the few women we have out of a leadership position, and you don't want that, do you?
And that's why I have to stay there to be the one of the top women, top people at the table. But anyway.
So she doubles down on that. So I want you to see this again, because then she's about to make a claim that I think is total bullshit.
To be the one of the top women, top people at the table. But anyway, they asked a question. I was responding, and they kept saying, "Well, why aren't we talking about this?" And why aren't they? I said.
You can tell she's lying because she's not going to memory here. She's making it up right now, and unfortunately, she has to pull it out of her slow brain.
We're talking about this, and why? I said, "Does anybody listen when a woman speaks around here?"
No, she didn't say that, did she? How would we know? But something tells me she's making that up. But then she realizes, oh man, I'm about to fuck over my deal with Trump.
Good luck with that.
But the president was listening. I have to give him credit for that.
Oh, covered yourself there, didn't you, Nancy? Smooth. You caught it there at the last minute. Maxine Waters, on the other hand, she's all fired up. She goes up, she stands up on stage, and let's see how many seconds it takes before she starts talking about impeachment.
Wow, what a moving evening this is. I am sitting here listening, watching, absorbing, thinking about Ali, even though I never met him.
Yeah, I bet you are.
And with this kind of inspiration, I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Oh, 23 seconds. 23 seconds. The woman is becoming a character of herself. Check out this. This is her playing to her brand here. This is at an AIDS event. Maxine Waters walks out on an AIDS event, and this is her introduction.
Thank you, Mayor Garcetti. Reclaiming my time!
Oh! Yeah, you're just a caricature of yourself now. Uh-huh. And then she uses her podium there at the AIDS walk in Las Vegas to talk about what? Talk about what? Oh, that's right. Impeaching Donald Trump. Oh, reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time. All right. That's it for Oh Nancy this week. Let's shift gears in the overtime. See, to save us from Nancy, there's only one man. Only one man who can truly come to the day. It's not Bill Clinton. It's not Jimmy Carter. No, it's Barack Obama.
You notice I haven't been commenting a lot on politics lately. But here's one thing I know. If you have to win a campaign by dividing people,
you know, like identity politics,
you're not going to be able to govern them.
Yep.
You won't be able to unite them later.
Oh, he's back in Southern Baptist preacher mode.
If that's how you start.
That's how you start.
He's back. This week brought us the public reemergence of President Obama. But not just any President Obama. Campaign mode President Obama. You remember the one, tie off, collar open, and on Thursday stumping for Democratic gubernatorial candidates and throwing some serious shade at Donald Trump as only he can.
Oh man, Geez, Joy, give me a break. Is this appropriate?
What we can't have is the same old politics of division that we have seen so many times before, that dates back centuries.
That's right.
Some of the politics we see now, we thought we put that to bed. I mean, that's folks looking 50 years back. It's the 21st century, not the 19th century.
So he's back, and he's going to help the Democrats win seats in 2018. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Or maybe we should all be focused on the battle in space.
The U.S. military prepares for many battles, including ones that could extend into space. The Air Force considers space to be a war-fighting domain.
The U.S. military wastes billions of dollars, including wasting money on space.
Just like air, land, and sea. But space is getting crowded and competitive, with more countries developing new technologies. The U.S. also tracks more than 500,000 pieces of debris, or space junk, that complicate operations in orbit. Bianca Golodriga visited a base in Colorado to see how the Air Force is defending America thousands of miles above Earth. Bianca, good morning.
Good morning. That space junk, by the way, is quite dangerous, traveling at 17,000 miles per hour. The U.S. used to be dominant in the world of space, but now not so much. In the last decade, Russia and China have caught up, creating a three-way space race. And now, as tensions with North Korea escalate, the U.S. military is preparing for a potential war above.
Expanding the Pacific Ocean. The Star Trek red alert sound, is that really happening right now at the U.S. Air Force Base?
And China have caught up, creating a three-way space race.
Gross.
And now, as tensions with North Korea escalate, the U.S. military is preparing for a potential war above.
Expanding the Pacific Ocean, possible missile launch.
When
That's got to
North
be for show.
Korea
That's got to be.
or any other country launches missiles like these, the airmen at Buckley Air Force Base in Colorado are the first people in the world to know about it. They provide the U.S. and its allies with 24/7 surveillance of all missile launches around the world.
It's a very demanding job. It's very no-notice kind of things. Obviously,
At 28, Lieutenant John Stryker is among the oldest on the team.
You like an old man?
Not until just now.
Stryker's squadron routinely practices exercises like this one.
Who did you call?
We call the next person in the chain who puts together a site picture for higher headquarters and ultimately our country's leadership.
So you do nothing?
It's a missile warning detection satellite.
That chain of command leads to four-star General Jay Raymond, the military's top space commander.
We're doing a lot to prepare for a potential conflict that may extend into space. We do not want this war to happen. And one way to make sure that we don't fight this war is to be prepared to fight and win.
That doesn't make any sense.
If it were to happen, and we are.
10 countries, including North Korea and Iran, now have the ability to launch a satellite into orbit.
So they're getting to the point where they can launch a satellite into orbit. We're getting to the point where we can wage war in space. Do you see the differential there? We're provoking. It's an arms race, and we're the ones starting it. Oh, shocker there.
Russia and China are developing technology that could blind or damage U.S. satellites.
Our job is to provide that global unblinking eye to be able to detect and warn against those threats and be able to provide that to the decision makers.
And how confident are you that that blinking eye will really never blink?
It doesn't blink. It's always open.
That's partly because of these giant golf ball-like structures that dot the Aurora, Colorado skyline. Inside each of these weather-resistant domes sits a 60-foot satellite dish. It scans the planet for the most dangerous weapons.
Many people think that we have missiles inside these radomes. We do not have anything that dangerous this close to Denver. They are simply satellite antennas meant to pass mission data.
About 60 miles south at Schriever Air Force Base in Colorado Springs, in this highly restricted and unassuming room, just 8 people keep watch over the Global Positioning System, or GPS.
Copy, disconnects are out.
Showing disconnect.
The Air Force developed GPS during Desert Storm to help soldiers communicate. GPS helps the military fly aircraft and drop bombs with greater accuracy.
Now, you know what GPS is, so we'll cut it there, but kind of interesting to see how they're kind of connecting it all together. Only 8 people? Only 8 people? Let's go back to that whole Obama was slamming on Trump stuff, because that seems like that deserves further discussion.
Aftermath of these terrible storms, the American people have done what we do best. We came together, we helped one another, and through it all, we remained resilient.
President Trump joining via video message as all 5 former living U.S. presidents stand on one stage raising funds for hurricane relief. United, for a night at least. Yet just on Thursday, in 2 separate speeches, both former presidents, Bush and Obama, made remarks largely perceived as against the current White House.
Discontent deepened and sharpened partisan conflicts. Bigotry seems emboldened. Our politics seems more vulnerable to conspiracy theories and outright fabrication.
Do you want a politics of division and distraction? Or do you believe in a better kind of politics? One where we work together and listen to each other and move this country forward.
And we are back now with the panel. Julie, the White House didn't take the bait. Watch this.
Does the White House feel it's appropriate for past presidents to be critical of the sitting president? And when was the last time President Trump spoke to President Bush?
I'm not sure the last time they spoke, but our understanding is that those comments were not directed towards the president.
So, Julie, I thought that was skillful and smart.
Yeah, it's a safe bet. Yeah, just stay out of fighting with the former presidents. But that does seem unusual. I don't really remember Clinton coming out and bashing Bush, but I can't quite remember. It just, to me, seems unprecedented. You see what I did there?
Am I mad at God? Yeah, I'm mad at him.
So, Bill O'Reilly. He's really been stepping in it recently.
Am I mad at God? Yeah, I'm mad at him.
So he's trying to come out. I don't know why. I guess people are mentioning him because of the Harvey Weinstein stuff. He's come back up in the discussion, and he's trying to prove his innocence, and his proof sucks.
Bill O'Reilly says he's mad at God?
Yeah, I'm mad at him. If I die tomorrow and I get an opportunity, I'll say, why'd you guys work me over like that? Didn't you know my children were going to be punished, and they're innocent?
A beleaguered O'Reilly spoke out on his podcast, and the remark is being ridiculed today.
That's what you're going to say to God, Bill? Why did you work me over?
And there's more fallout today over that bombshell New York Times report that O'Reilly paid former Fox News personality Lise Wheel $32 million to settle sexual misconduct claims. John Huddy, the brother of one of O'Reilly's accusers, former Fox host Juliette Huddy, was fired by Fox News as a foreign correspondent based in Jerusalem. His dismissal came the day after his sister spoke out on Megyn Kelly's show on NBC.
Are you scared today?
I'm terrified. I'm actually terrified, and I don't know why I'm about to cry, but...
Today, Megyn told viewers she believes John Huddy's dismissal was no coincidence.
Before the end of our show yesterday, before the 9 o'clock hour had concluded, Fox News fired Juliette's brother, John Huddy.
A spokesman for Fox News says Huddy's firing had nothing to do with his sister speaking out, saying, following a thorough investigation into a physical altercation earlier this month, Fox News made the decision to sever ties with Huddy. Meanwhile, O'Reilly remains defiant.
If they win, if they do destroy me, okay. But I'm going to go down fighting, and I'm going to go down telling the truth.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. So he publishes the truth, and it's pretty weak. I don't know why he doesn't just keep his mouth shut. We have other things to focus on. Don't we all want to focus on cybersecurity? That's the big threat. It's Cybersecurity Month, after all.
You know, October is National Cybersecurity Month. I didn't know that. Now you know this.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Now you know this. And it's really a good time to focus on online security and personal protection, particularly as the latest cybersecurity breaches from Equifax and Yahoo continue to make headlines. And someone who knows all about this is Barbara Shermatiro. And
Barbara here is the cybersecurity expert.
Thank you so much, because you are the IT and cyber security professor at Walsh College. So
I am.
Thank you for
And
coming
thank
in.
you.
I bet students, every time you start a new classroom, there's almost another story in the news about a big breach.
It's been relentless, hasn't it?
Apparently, yes, it has. And so a lot
of... So this is them. They get into a good conversation. She gives a few good tips about locking down your credit card and stuff like that. So good on her.
Same way, let's say that bank robbers or people who steal jewelry or paintings, they will hide it away for a period of time until the heat is off. That's what happens when cyber criminals and hackers, they gather these large amounts of data. They know the company has given you a year or so of credit monitoring. They sit tight on the data.
So she definitely hammers that point about protecting your identity. Maybe we just need more FBI cyber units, more cyber
Talking
units.
about cyber attacks, ransomware, the dark web, Connecticut is now stepping up its attack on cybercrime.
Wait. Okay, so this is like the new war on drugs. So Connecticut Connecticut's been under too much cyber attack. So Connecticut's going to step up its what now?
Web, Connecticut is now stepping up its attack on cybercrime.
So because there's been too many cyber attacks, they're going to attack cybercrime. You see, it's not a cyber attack because they are attacking cybercrime. You see, the attack comes before the cyber.
News 8 anchor Scott McDonald tells us tonight a number of agencies are coming together to form a cyber task force.
Oh, really? Yeah, or to milk taxpayers. Maybe that one.
You know, phishing, ransomware, and that's just the start.
Yep. That's been the start for about 30 years now.
This task force will address the significant increase in the number and the frequency of cyber attacks occurring in Connecticut.
So there's been a significant increase. No number, not even a percentage of no number, just a significant increase. I like this. You guys noticed last week? This too, the same thing, vagary when it comes to cyber attack numbers. Significant increase specifically in Connecticut, guys. Connecticut, because there's been a real specific type of real bad guy attack.
An FBI-led Connecticut task force has been formed to combat rampant cybercrime.
The FBI is cashing in on cyber like it's the new drug war.
In the Glastonbury School District alone, 122 fraudulent tax returns were filed, seeking more than $500,000 in phony refunds.
So here's the data. This is why this task force is necessary, because 122 fraudulent tax forms in one district alone. One district alone, guys. It was probably one PC that was hacked and running software, and it was probably an exit node or something. That's why. 122, you're going to need agents for every single one of those. No, it's probably one PC. It's one dude in a basement.
Fraudulent tax returns were filed, seeking more than $500,000 in phony refunds.
So not even $1 million. And can you imagine the unbelievable amounts of money they're going to spend on this entire thing?
From identity theft to drug distribution rings.
These defendants had bought kilogram quantities of fentanyl.
Now we're talking about different, this is a different case.
Ecstasy and 40,000 pills of Xanax through sources on the dark web.
Which doesn't sound like that'd be related to Connecticut at all, actually. I guess you have to have some sort of level of enforcement, but this all just sounds like a big money grab to me. It's just a horrible one. FBI task force for Connecticut. Give me a break. Like this kind of thinking, if this is really legitimate, like if they're not just trying to grab money, if they actually think they're going to fight cybercrime this way, they are taking a local regional district office approach to a worldwide problem. And I'm not sitting here trying to argue that they should have worldwide license to enforce, although they are. But the idea that if you staff up in Connecticut, you're going to reduce cybercrime is so mental. They either are so off on how they're going to fight cybercrime, or they are trying to use an established model that has been around, that is baked into their bureaucracy to generate revenue. It reminds me of NPR. NPR has this huge problem that is fundamentally disrupting the way they raise revenue, and so they've had to take on a lot more ads, you may have noticed. The problem is their podcasts are successful. Their podcasts are successful. And so they're screwing over all the affiliates on revenue. The affiliates are all hard up for money. So NPR is being forced to deprioritize a growing aspect of their business that is digital, that is cheaper for them, that doesn't require affiliates, doesn't require all the hassle of all these affiliate agreements. But they have to deprioritize it and keep making a second-class citizen to honor their existing funding model, which is all of these affiliates in your local towns. This is the FBI's problem, too. It's an old model created before the internet. And now the FBI is going to solve cybercrime by staffing up in Connecticut. God. Okay, different topic, because I could just sit here and rant about that all the time. Let's talk about the Kennedy files. These are supposed to come out next week, so they're supposed to come out on Thursday, so they would be, if anything interesting is in there, in next week's episode. Here's a little background.
President Trump will soon release long classified documents on the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The release of thousands of pages of classified files is expected to be released on Thursday. Analysts expect documents to further fuel what are considered conspiracy theories into JFK's murder. For more on this, we are joined...
Yeah, we don't need more. We'll see. We don't need to speculate what they might be. We'll see. I would not really imagine much. Could you picture there's going to be nothing that's going to devastate the CIA or anything like that? I want to do one more Cucker Tuckerson because I thought this was, well, this is a well put together piece. We'll watch just a bit of it until we get bored. Cucker Tuckerson!
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight.
Thanks,
For
buddy.
months, you could hear the word echoing from congressional offices and television studios all over Washington. Russia, Russia, Russia. The very people who spent 70 years making excuses for the Soviet Union were suddenly convinced that Russian agents had visited our shores in the dead of night to murder American democracy and install their puppet in our White House. Trump won because of Vladimir Putin. That was their claim. It seemed confusing to most people, but to our decadent and deeply unimpressive ruling class...
Decadent and deeply unimpressive.
It seemed confusing to most people, but to our decadent and deeply unimpressive ruling class...
He's having some fun here.
The explanation made perfect sense. How else could their candidate, the candidate of both Nancy Pelosi and the Bush family, have lost last November's election? Well, the media assured them that would never happen. In fact, a year ago today, the New York Times ran this prediction, quote, Hillary Clinton has a 93% chance to win, and they believed it. When she didn't win, our elites assumed a foreign power must have intervened. No other explanation made sense to them. The only thing they lacked was evidence that it had happened. And so to find that, they told us we needed an immediate all-hands-on-deck investigation of Russian interference. So we got one. Boy, did we. It turned out to be one of the most comprehensive investigations of anything in the history of this country. The FBI kicked it off and was soon joined by a fully staffed Office of Independent Counsel, as well as both houses of Congress. Almost every media outlet in America jumped obediently on board, pouring massive resources into a news story that started to look a lot like a conspiracy theory. But ahead they went. An entire generation of non-Russian-speaking cable news hosts remade themselves into amateur criminologists. Remember that? The frenzy spun out of control. And soon, liberals weren't simply talking about a stolen election, but about war, actual war.
Yeah.
If Russia is going to keep attacking America, then America really should fight back. There is an entire building in St. Petersburg filled with a Russian troll army, creating thousands of tweets, memes, news site comments, and flat-out fake stories designed not to take sides on any issue, but just to get us fighting about it. Hillary Clinton spent over $1 billion on the campaign, and the Russians beat her with 150 grand because they were able to turn Facebook into Fakebook.
Man, they really believe this. They really buy all that. Ah, man, it must be if you're Facebook right now, you're like, shit, if we can ride this out, this is going to be great for us, because this basically is the media claiming that our advertising platform's legitimate and it works.
So you're accusing a nuclear-armed adversary of committing an act of war, and you're doing it purely in order to gain an advantage in a domestic political dispute? No normal person would do that. It's too reckless and crazy. Yeah, that's exactly what many of our leaders did, including, by the way, sitting members of Congress. They called it war, too. Mass hysteria does not even begin to capture this. We are living in a moment that makes the McCarthy era look reasoned and considered. At least Joe McCarthy was onto something real. There really were Soviet spies. There was no Russian collusion in last year's election. So how are all those investigations going? Well, the New York Times, to its credit, took a look at that this weekend, and it turns out that if the Russians got Trump elected, they left no trace of it. Even Senator Dianne Feinstein of California had to admit that after wasting untold time and money, her committee has not found evidence of collusion between Putin and the Trump campaign. The whole thing is a dry well, a crock, a fraud, a scam, a politically induced hallucination. It's totally nuts. A lot of people should be deeply ashamed of this. Not that they are, of course. But that doesn't mean we haven't learned anything. Robert Mueller's team of investigators apparently has found evidence of suspected wrongdoing by the Podesta Group, which...
Yeah, we'll stop there since we're covering there, but I thought it was a good enough summary. You know, Cucker. He's really on the warpath now. I can kind of understand, I suppose. You start getting just overwhelmed with hearing the same crap over and over and over again. At least I know I do watching the news. After a little bit, you start getting a little righteous about it. There was a moment that made me lull that I wanted to share with you. I will admit this is particularly visual because it is someone throwing a Russian flag at Donald Trump. And I don't know if the Fox News news actors noticed or not, but it was on their feed.
So this is going to get really interesting really fast. The president arriving on Capitol Hill, as you just saw. Just sit down with senators, try to get something done. As you can see, there's the president walking into the lunch right now.
Did you see it there? Now, if you go back right there, you can start to see the flag in the bottom. He's walking in with Mitch McConnell, and there's two Russian flags that are thrown on him. If you Google image it, you'll see different angles. And then somebody starts freaking out.
Try to get something done. As you can see, there's the president walking into the lunch right now with Mitch McConnell. As you can hear some people yelling some things. Keep the camera on here because this is a huge moment happening on Capitol Hill.
There's the protester.
The president has said his
the news actor is totally unaware, really.
goal is to get something done by Thanksgiving. So
why is she talking over him? Is she because she doesn't know what to do? So better shut up the slave there. Better make sure he doesn't say anything.
The urgency is there. The clock is ticking, David Bossie.
Yeah, there you go. So somebody throws a Russian flag at Trump. That's good and funny to me. Now, I'm going to play bits of this examination of Jeff Sessions by Al Franken. During the investigation, I think it was 6 days ago, the hearing of the Russia investigation, and Jeff Sessions testified. And when the questioning came from Al Franken, it got heated and awkward. And I'm going to try to show it to you in chunks. To be honest with you, Franken's grandstanding here a lot. In fact, he has a 5-minute lead-up question where he just basically lays Sessions over and spanks him. Let's just get a little taste.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Attorney General Sessions, welcome back. The last time we spoke, I asked you about Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. There is now absolutely no question that the Russians meddled in the election in order to undermine confidence in American democracy.
To undermine confidence in American democracy. The same lines he read the last hearing.
To damage the campaign of Hillary Clinton and to boost Donald Trump.
All right. Oh, man. So let's see here. Let me jump ahead here because he goes on for, let's see, we're now 3 minutes in. Let's see. Let's see. One shot over here.
Your answer under oath before this committee was that you, quote, did not have communications with the Russians, period. But on the morning that it's
about that meeting, so then he keeps on going. I'm continuing to fast forward here. So we're now 5 minutes in, and Sessions is just watching him. We're now 5.5 minutes. Okay, here we go. 5.5 minutes in, Sessions gets to answer, and it's great.
Well, let me just say this without hesitation, that I conducted no improper discussions with Russians at any time regarding a campaign or any other item facing this country.
Okay, how do you know?
I want to say that first. And that's been the suggestion that you've raised and others, It was somehow we had conversations that were improper.
May I suggest that...
No. You had a long time, Senator Franken. I'd like to respond.
Okay.
I think I have a...
Well, note that Senator Cruz went 2 minutes over, so I don't want... they're going to cut me off, and so I want to ask you some questions.
No, I don't, Mr. Chairman, I don't have to sit in here and listen to his...
You're the one who testified.
Charges without having a chance to respond.
This is great. I'm not going to sit here without, no, I won't do, I got to respond. I mean, listen, he's fired up.
His,
you're the one who testified.
Charges without having a chance to respond. Give me a break.
Okay, thank you.
So he says, I'll give you his time. It's fine.
Go ahead. Take whatever time.
It was not a simple question, Senator Franken.
I'm sorry?
It was not a simple question. The lead-in to your question was very, very troubling. And I answered to you in a way that I felt was...
So Sessions starts giving into him a little bit here, giving him a few things.
...elect last week.
Starts reading a few prepared statements, and then it goes back over to Franken. Franken asks a bunch of more questions for a while. And he just keeps on going and going and going. And Sessions is getting more and more upset.
You go make a lot of allegations, Senator. It's hard for me to respond to them in the time I've got.
Can I have a little bit more time? Okay. You have said today in response to Senator Leahy that you don't recall whether you talked about the campaign, whether you don't recall whether you talked about issues and Trump's views on issues.
So then they go on. And of course, Franken's really using his time. I am 14 minutes ahead here. 3 minutes ahead here. And here's about 3 minutes forward.
Relatively short answer.
So he gets to do about 10 minutes improperly framing this subject, and I'm given a short chance to respond.
Proceed, please.
I don't like Jeff Sessions, but I do like him busting some balls here a little bit.
But then we're going to call on Senator
first and foremost, Senator Franken.
What Jeff is really upset about is Al Franken is damaging his brand.
You and I have had a good relationship on this committee. I would tell my colleagues, I think most of you know, I've committed myself to a high level of public service, to reach the highest standards of ethics and decency in my service, to be honest about things that I say. And so you have now gone through this long talk that I believe is totally unfair to me. It all arose from this question.
And there you go. He'll go in. He just reads his statement again. I just thought it was and that's even just half of it, really. It's just you'd have to watch the whole thing, and it's slow and tedious. But as far as old guys getting fired up, I don't really think anybody beats John McCain this week. I'm assuming you guys saw this clip of John McCain. And I got to play it for you. Full disclosure, not a John McCain fan. I am definitely against the rehabilitation of John McCain and the Democrats embracing John McCain in their war against Donald Trump. And he's probably the guy that gave the dossier to the FBI. Not a fan. Not a fan. But I do like when people kick the media's ass. I do like that.
I'm not interested in confronting the president. I'm interested in working with the president.
Thanks very much for your time, sir. I really appreciate it.
Senator McCain, just a quick question. Has your relationship with the president raised to the point that you are not going to support anything that he comes to you and asks?
Why would you say something that stupid? Why would you ask something that dumb? Huh? My job as a United States Senator is a senator from Arizona, which I was just reelected to. You mean that I am somehow going to behave in a way that I'm going to block everything because of some personal disagreement? That's a dumb question.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
There are such things as dumb questions as far as John McCain's concerned, and he likes it too. He's happy with that response. He walks away with a smile on his face. At least the old codger's going to go out making us laugh a little bit. Have a good one, John McCain. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you to our patrons at patreon.com/unfilter for supporting us. I hope you enjoyed the whole dang thing. Did you know you could join us live for $2.57? Yeah, you did know. All right, I was just reminding you because I love you. All right, thanks for your support. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next week.
wasted effort.
OMG, OMG, OMG.
That's how we go. That's how we roll.
I'm not going to dignify that with an answer.
Reclaiming my time.
Oh. All right. All right. All right. Oh. All right. All right. That's right. Okay, have you guys seen the new commercial calling for the impeachment of Donald Trump? Ironically, this will probably get us pulled down from YouTube, but it's pretty dramatic. I'll play it for you here.
He's brought us to the brink of nuclear war, obstructed justice at the FBI, and in direct violation of the Constitution, he's taken money from foreign governments and threatened to shut down news organizations that report the truth. If that isn't a case for impeaching and removing a dangerous president, then what has our government become? I'm Tom Steyer, and like you, I'm a citizen who knows it's up to us to do something. It's why I'm funding this effort to raise our voices together and demand that elected officials take a stand on impeachment. A Republican Congress once impeached a president for far less. Yet today, people in Congress and his own administration know that this president is a clear and present danger, who's mentally unstable and armed with nuclear weapons. And they do nothing. Join us and tell your member of Congress that they have a moral responsibility to stop doing what's political.
I don't know who that guy is. I should probably know. I feel like if he can afford to do that, I should probably know who his name is. But you know, I'm a bad person, I guess. I got a couple other clips I can play for you guys. See, would anything not be a bummer, though? Let's see, is anything not a bummer? How about this one? Let's do a little Weinstein.
A light brawl.
I don't like that guy. I thought that was an NBC report. Sorry. It's a report about NBC. Mislabel. Ha ha ha. See, I got the dumb question one played. Let's see, what else do we got? Okay, all right, let's Don Lemon crying. Let's do that.
This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon.
Oh, God.
Today when I woke up and saw the emotional interview with the grieving Gold Star widow, Maisha Johnson, my heart was broken, like most of you. And then moments later, the president tweeted, and I was shocked. I felt compelled to write an open letter to President Trump, and I want to share that letter with you right now.
What a D-bag. Like your opinion matters. And you notice how he says, I was shocked, like most of you. That's clever, because what that's doing is if you're not shocked by it, then you should feel bad. And so you're not likely to criticize because hopefully you'll feel guilty for not feeling bad. It's very clever.
Dear Mr. President, I've interviewed you multiple times. You've introduced me to your family. You've also criticized me publicly, both in front of cameras and on Twitter, calling me hateful, dumb, a lightweight. Some of your friends have suggested you expected better of me, and I'm not sure why you'd expect anything other than fairness and facts first. We know you get a lot of your news from TV. Several of your friends and supporters have told me you watch this show. So since I have this platform, I'd like to speak to you personally right now. I felt compelled to do that after this latest controversy with the widow of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson. Your tweet this morning essentially called her a liar. Mr. Trump, please stop it. Please stop. Think of what Sergeant Johnson would want. You are putting his widow in the terrible position.
This guy is really full of himself, isn't he? This is a new segment that he's trying to roll out in a way that, you know, this thing he's doing, like he's trying to get a new kind of recognition, and he's capitalizing on this situation to do it. It's just gross. It's an interesting thing to watch, though, in a way. It's like a case study in narcissism.
Of having to fight for her dignity when she should be concentrating on taking care of herself, her health, her 2 children, and the one on the way. I want you to listen to what Maisha Johnson said this morning.
The president said that.
Man, you know, I've seen all this. I'm watching because supposedly Don Lemon starts crying in this, but I haven't seen it yet. I kind of want to see Don Lemon cry.
I know you have children. You have 2 daughters. Can you imagine Ivanka or Tiffany in Maisha's shoes having a fight with the commander-in-chief while they are pregnant and grieving?
Yeah, he's drunk. He's drunk.
If Maisha Johnson is mad at you, take it. Just as President Bush and others did. Take it. It's part of what you signed up for when you decided to descend that escalator and throw your hat in the ring for president. You are the commander-in-chief, the president of the United States of America.
Hey, buddy.
The greatest country on earth. Act like it. Act like you know that you're big enough not to have to win every fight or respond to every criticism. Act like you know where the high road is. Confident and secure people ask for help all the time, and they ask for forgiveness. Insecure people think they know everything and need no help. And I want you to think about this. The only Gold Star families you have attacked are people of color. How does that look?
Oh, well,
apologize.
Man.
And I'm going to end with some words to help you do that. You are welcome to use them. And so now I'm going to speak directly to Maisha Johnson, as you should. Mrs. Johnson, since the president seems incapable of finding the right words, let me speak for the entire country. We are all sorry for what you are going through. All grief is different, and we cannot imagine how deep and profound yours is. We agree with you that LaDavid, your hero husband, was an awesome soldier, a great man, a great American. We know from what has been written about him that he wanted to be someone great, do great things with his life, and he was great, and he did great things. He is a role model to me. When his photos come up on the TV screen or I see them in the newspaper, I am so incredibly proud of him and what he accomplished. And to be extremely candid with you and with the world, as a black man, I'm always looking for role models who look like me. And the latest one I found was your husband, LaDavid. May he rest in peace. And may you find peace when you can finally get a good night's sleep, knowing that this is America. We got your back. Believe that. Signed, me, Don Lemon. Now I want to turn now to CNN senior political analyst Mark Preston, political analyst April Ryan, and military analyst Colonel Cedric Layton. Sorry.
Don is so... Oh, there it is. No, I turned away right when he's... Oh, damn it. Sorry, guys. Here it is.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
He doesn't look like he's crying at all.
Oh, it looked like he was going to sneeze.
Yeah, that just looked like maybe... Dude, look at him looking up to make sure he's on camera. Oh my God, dude. He's faking it. Look. He looks up to make sure he's on camera, and then he looks back down and does the fake thing.
Or it's, like, oops, I didn't mean to do that on camera.
Sorry.
Sorry, guys.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry.
Oh, man. That was a long way to get there, but I guess it was kind of worth it. How you doing, Mr. Chase?
Oh.
How was the drive up today?
Drive up today wasn't too bad.
Yeah, you seem to make pretty decent time, really.
Last couple weeks, though, not great.
Oh, yeah. Chat room says I'm low energy today, and they might be right. I hurt my rib.
I'm really low energy, but that's just because I have 0 fucks to give now. So
I like that, actually. Oh, and I got this pinch. I'm 4 Tylenol in, and I still hurt. I tell you what, man.
I don't. Can you turn my monitor up a little bit? I can hear you fine, but I can't hear me fine. No, I hear you. I don't hear me. Is it me or is it you?
I don't know. I don't know. If you sit down and read something, I'll look at the levels.
Let me sit
Yeah, I mean, it feels like he was making hay.
All right, well, maybe that is okay. Maybe it
You know
was
what I'm
me.
saying?
Maybe it was me.
Doesn't it? Yeah, okay, yeah, you want to read some? I'll check the levels.
All right, let's see here. Sounded like, with all the music, that all he was trying to convince us to mass suicide.
Find the location at /big. Okay.
Download the show today on your favorite podcatching client.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, man, it hurts to move. That's all I'm
Go
saying.
to twit.tv/
Just saying, it hurts to move my body.
Tech News Today. Oh,
no, you can still get the new show.
Tech News Weekly. Not to be competing with This Week in Tech. What? 2 weekly tech shows. That doesn't make sense. Again, like I said, no fucks to give. I'm
gonna play this and see if the levels is too well. You know what? I'll just do it live. Fuck it. If it's too loud. No, Axiom is the worst. I was crawling around under the RV and I just it's moving around too fast. I hurt myself like an old man.
You know, maybe part of the reason why I have zero fucks to give.
You have known
is because of all the idiots out there that are tweeting at me instead of at Devin.
I told you it was going to come.
On both the Republicans and Democrats. Fuck you both.
I told you.
Seriously.
Did I not warn you?
Oh, you warned me.
I warned you it was coming.
I know. You know what? I'm ready to take this national now. I am ready to get Washington Post, CNN, Headline News, Fox News, Russia Today. Come on, Russia Today. Come on. Actually, I should.
Now, give me a Howard Dean scream there at the end. Yeah! That's pretty good. Okay.
We're going to take California. We're going to take Washington. Yeah!
All right. Okay. Are you ready? Just got to buckle up, okay?
I'm going to strap it in.
Okay.
By the way, very special episode, 256.
I know, I like that.
There's so many.
I know, I like that a lot.
So many things.
I know.
You have no idea what I'm going to go with.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, that is very true. Here we go in a 3, in a 2, in a 3, 2. Oh, damn it, Chase. This is Unfilter, episode 2. Oh, what did I do? No, damn it, me. Son of how did I? Oh, damn it, dude.
Episode 2560. Well,
that's a little ambitious. It feels like
it feels
sometimes.
ambitious. It feels
okay.
ambitious.
All right. So,
you asshole.
I gotta go fire QA. I'll be right back.
What kind of operation is this bullshit? You're fired. You're fired. You're all fired. Can't believe it. I drive here 17 hours through the snow, through the rain, through all the idiot Prius drivers in the fucking left lane. This is bullshit. You know, I swear, man. After doing this show for like 17 years, I've had enough. All these lying fucking politicians on the left, the right, shit. Fuck you all. I'm serious. All you fucking haters on YouTube, you guys can suck dick. Jesus. Fuck you all. Yeah, how big's your team, by the way?
What's that?
Yeah.
All right, so.
Hey, it's only fair. It's only fair because of what my intro is going to be.
Okay.
It's only fair.
All right. Can't believe it. It's just unbelievable. It is unbelievable. Now I gotta sit here, wait for Dropbox. Sometimes I feel like Diet Coke makes me more thirsty.
Dude, stay away from that shit. Not good for you.
I know.
No, seriously, it's not. It's like you're better off just drinking Coke.
I'm not big on the sugar crash.
Well, yeah, but what about the bullshit?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Diet's worse.
Yeah.
Worse.
Well, now you're going to make me have to stop drinking Diet, dude.
Well, yeah.
Damn. All right, intros.
Just go to hard drugs. What?
Oh, yeah, you know what? Skip caffeine and go to Coke. That'd probably be, would that be easier on the body?
Look at this. We need to verify this device.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Oh, God damn it.
These assholes with They're two-factor security.
There's been an invalid login attempt. Oh.
Yeah, it's all the places now. Oh, man.
It's me.
Ow, I just fingered my eyeball.
What?
I just got...
Phrasing.
Damn it. All right, everybody got their shit together or what? Because now it's time for us to start the damn show, okay? And I just need you guys to get your crap together.
Reclaiming my time.
Who let her in here?
I did.
Oh, okay. As long as she's with you.
She is with me.
Okay, here we go. It is the Unfilter show. It is episode 256, and it's the green Coke. It's sweetened with... What? Stevia? Where did you find this?
Oh, there's a
Coke that's sweetened with stevia? Where do you find this?
Yeah, it's what's the name of that? Yeah, it's like what's it called? I've seen it before. It's like
All right, princess, buckle up.
It's called Coke Life.
Okay.
Look for that Coca-Cola
Never seen
Life.
that before.
Yeah, I've tried it. It's okay.
Okay, let's get ready to cyber.
ASL.
This is Unfilter, episode 256 for October 25th, 2017.
CBS News confirms the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign helped pay for controversial research into President Trump's ties to Russia. The Washington Post first revealed the Democrats' connection to the research dossier that leaked back in January. It contained unsubstantiated claims connecting the president to Russian interests. President Trump questioned the origin of what he calls the fake dossier last week. He tweeted, "Who paid for it? Russia, the FBI, or the Dems, or all?"
Oh, hi. Yeah, I'm on. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Welcome again to Unfilter, Jupiter Broadcasting's weekly show about the news you shouldn't be watching. I'm Chase. Over there is... Your name is Charles? Chuck?
It's close.
Chris!
Oh! Yeah, the name tag helps.
Yes.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, man. So, this is the Glitch Edition.
256?
256. You know about the famous Pac-Man glitch?
Yeah, I do. In fact, isn't that what inspired that new Pac-Man game?
It did. Pac-Man 256.
Good call out, man.
I want to say off the top of the show that I missed you guys a lot.
And we missed you too.
Full disclosure, I was in the beautiful area of the Mojave Desert. I was in Barstow, California for the last 2 weeks.
Your full disclosure.
Hey, you want to see it? And unfortunately, I had two major bad events happen to me.
Whoa, man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, one, my father-in-law passed away.
Yeah, I knew that one.
You knew that.
Okay.
The second event, which I don't even know you're aware of, I was down there, taking care of those kind of things.
Fighting crime.
And I was watching, Los Angeles area television and news because I had nothing else to do. I had access to everything, and boy, I did not miss it. But I was watching everything when they had a brief blip about the Northern California wildfires. And during that, I saw a flash of my childhood home.
Oh.
And I went into like resourceful, got on my phone, started doing some searching. I was
Sure. What's going on up there? What stories can you find?
My childhood home's gone.
Burned up?
Gone. It was burned up by a...
Did you go there?
No. California's huge, so it would have been like an 8-hour drive. So I've had a real rough couple of weeks, and my father-in-law, he was 24 years in the Army. He was a master sergeant. We spent many times sitting in front of the television, commenting on our politicians left and right.
Early Unfilter.
Yeah, he was not a huge fan of the Trump administration. Yeah, he had his feelings, but then again, he was the kind of gentleman, kind of like myself, where he didn't really like any politician because he felt that they all lied and they all didn't tell the truth on either side.
Funny how that works.
And but he especially thought that the whole Trump thing was kind of like a big reality show. It wasn't based on principle or truth or track record. It was based on other factors. But that being said, one thing I've learned from this whole 2-3 week thing, and I know that I might be a little raw today,
I definitely was during the pre-show. You know, I've gotten a lot of feedback on this show from co-hosting with you and also solo hosting that one time. And one thing I'm going to do more, and maybe not less of, and that is, you know, for me, I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat. I consider myself me. And I'm really getting tired of all these labels, because what happens is when we start labeling each other, we stop listening to each other. Because then you have all these bullet points stuck in your head, and that if anybody decides to challenge any one of those bullet points, you're not going to hear them, or they won't hear you. There's no respectful discord anymore in America, and sadly, maybe there's some brief, fragments of that. So all I'm going to say here, you guys, and what I'm going to promise to do for you, Chris, and the entire audience, is I'm going to be me. And if I fully believe in my heart that is the way it is after the research and the things that I've done, that's the way it is, and that's what I'm going to say. And if you have a counterpoint, maybe instead of attacking me or saying that I'm just wrong, let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation about it. Maybe you can change my mind, and maybe I can change your mind, because at the end of the day, we need to respect each other. We need to love each other, because our time on this planet sometimes is short. And I know that I do not want to die knowing that, I didn't live my life to the fullest. So that being said, Chris, I'm looking forward to the show immensely, and it's good to be back.
Well, now that's you should have that should be like a written speech, like a statement there. That was good. That's good, Chase. I'm you know what?
Well,
I'm right there with you.
Well, there are cue cards.
I'm dialed in. That's nice. It's nice
yeah.
that guy just sits there and holds our cue cards for us.
He really writes them for every show.
I thought something that might make you feel a little better is perhaps if we start with a little cyber and let's make a game out of it. Okay?
Ooh.
Yeah. Let's see if we can spot who's spending the money in this piece. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Spot the cyber spender. Cyber spender.
There's probably a lot more to do than we've done so far to truly get ready.
Stemming cyber threats, what if your utilities were hacked? What happens if the power grid goes down?
10 News reporter Matt Boone was at a first-of-its-kind conference today about how
First of its kind. Okay, there's your first clue.
San Diego should prepare for such 21st century attacks.
Any hints yet? Any hints yet who might be spending the money on this piece?
Must be. Well, this is San Diego, so maybe the military?
The hint is actually in this. Oh, it's all about the military in the grand scheme.
Yeah,
but we'll get there.
Yeah.
But everybody has to position themselves. So right now there's a big dash for making money, and everybody has to position themselves as an authority. And it's in the background of this photo. There's a company that's particularly interested in this. Yeah, it's Qualcomm.
Hosted by one of San Diego's largest tech companies, the discussion was on one of our biggest threats, a cyber attack to our infrastructure. And the question, are we ready?
We are as prepared as anybody, and probably better prepared.
That's retired Rear Admiral Ken Slatt.
Of course, the Qualcomm logo is everywhere.
Oh,
Who helped organize the conference.
Because of the military presence here, that puts a pretty big target on our backs already.
The Navy and
Marine Corps. Full disclosure, there's military presences in lots of communities.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, Everett, Washington has a military presence. Seattle has a military presence.
Right.
Olympia has a military presence. There's military presences pretty much in every community, major community.
That's why it's a
in the United
concern
States.
everywhere.
Oh, God.
You see, and this is why everybody has to position themselves as an authority on cyber right now. And it's from Qualcomm, where they have solutions, to Big Oil, where they have challenges too. And then, of course, you have other companies that really need to get the word out there that they have something to offer for cyber as well. And it's easier if you're maybe a little more established. See if you can recognize the next company that's going for the cyber profit. Meet the next generation of cyber.
ASL.
So if you think about the kinds of products that Lockheed Martin
yes,
a
of course.
Huge government contractor.
Of course,
huge.
Lockheed Martin.
They love that government
They
money.
want this cyber money.
So much.
Products that Lockheed Martin builds, they're complex, interconnected, and they all rest on a basis of information technology, communications.
They already have an in.
And sensing. And so cybersecurity is critical to everything we do.
Lockheed Martin and Georgia Tech are developing the cyber workforce.
Yep, and then so they talk about how they're training the next generation of cyber. Lockheed Martin cyber warriors are training the next generation of cyber warriors. Other companies, like I mentioned, Big Oil, also have some skin in this game, and they have cyber threat intelligence analysts. intelligence analyst. Starting to get some government terms in here.
Every day I drive into work, I listen to the news on the radio.
See if you can guess.
I'm instantly put into a state of fear.
I know, right? Yeah, that's what I was
seriously.
thinking. It really. And then she's... So basically,
music.
The first few seconds, seriously, and Unfilter. The first few seconds of this are like how basically she just pays attention to the news and evaluates cyber threats. Well, guess what? Your humble hosts do that too. But yeah, see if you can spot which company in big oil. It's a big oil company. That's your hint.
Okay, big oil. Got
it. Also putting their stake in the cyber money market.
I listen to the news on the radio because what happens in the real world actually impacts who may want to go out.
Did you notice?
They've blurred out the Ford logo. Well done, too.
I think they just put tape over it.
Oh, maybe. No, that looks like it's...
It's like blue tape, I think.
Could be.
Nice job.
No, that's a blur. I can see
even though
this
is definitely a Ford Escape.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Who may want to go after our company.
Oh, Chevron. Actually, that looked pretty slick by the way.
Yeah. Oh, it's a well put together video. Really good time lapses.
Yeah.
And but really, when you listen to what she does nothing.
I'm Jessica Lee. I'm a cyber threat intelligence analyst at Chevron. When I come into work, I begin looking at my hundreds of emails in my inbox that are about the things that have been happening.
Wow, that sucks.
I know.
I mean, first off, what about your do you have any Outlook rules set up or something?
Get some filtering on that business. See, one of the things she's doing is she's observing the phishing attempts. Because the big threat is that phishing attacks are the big threat vector.
Overnight, the different cyber incidents that have happened throughout the world, the different adversaries that have been active, or even predictions into what adversaries may want to do.
So she looks at the news and sees what's been going on.
Drives economies for a lot of different countries.
Oh, that was a good line, actually. This line here I think is particularly good.
Oil is something that drives...
Oh, hold on. A little bit further back.
Oil is something that drives economies for a lot of different countries.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I don't know, Russia's one, Saudi
States,
Arabia,
let's be honest.
U.S. Yeah, totally.
Anything having to do with oil or natural gas resources. I take that information and I feed it to other teams so that they can make business decisions about how to better protect the company.
So she watches RSS feeds and then she forwards it along to people.
And she listens to our show.
I guess.
Obviously.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
She gets that email every Thursday.
It's about the video is another excruciating 45 seconds long, but I'll skip it. So why are all these companies fronting? Why are they all out there to try to get a piece of the money? Because there's something very important going on this week. As a matter of fact, there is a Senate hearing on defending the U.S. against cyber attacks, and the general position is we need more money spent. And I think my theory here is this is John McCain's gift to the industrial military complex. This is his going away gift. Here is your next generation of profiteering.
He meets today to receive testimony on the U.S. government's policy, strategy, and organization.
By the way, can you back it up a few frames to the wide shot?
Beep.
This is sad to me.
Like there's almost nobody there.
There's nobody there. Here's something happening that's important in government.
And it's also going to lead to immense profiteering.
Right. And, obviously a lot of pay for play.
And the seats are empty except for a couple of journalists.
Yeah.
Maybe one journalist,
and then
actually.
one guy on his laptop at the table.
And then
back
some
there.
lawyers up there. Yeah.
There's more people behind the desks than watching the desks.
Because there's a lot of people interested in this money.
Wow. Organization to protect our nation in cyberspace. To begin, I'd like to thank Senators Rounds and Nelson for their leadership on these issues in our cybersecurity subcommittee. This hearing builds upon the good work that they and their subcommittee have done this year to tackle the critical challenge of cyber.
So they go on to talk about basically, I'll just spare you, but how the challenge of cyber attacks have been getting greater, and the depth and et cetera, et cetera. But if you look back at any of these major attacks that have happened, they're generally like of a few categories. The most common appears to be phishing attacks, which don't require some sophisticated military response. Or their zero-day exploit attacks, which are generally extremely targeted, and the zero-day market is as vibrant as it is because our own government is funneling millions of dollars into buying 0 days, creating demand in a market, driving people to charge outrageous price for 0 days, and driving people to find 0 days at an unbelievable rate so that way they can sell them to the U.S. government. So our own government is fueling the 0 day market. So increasing spending on military cyber defenses would probably only worsen that problem. I really don't see that. I mean, and then the other category of attacks would generally be you click on a link somewhere that's outside of an email.
Right.
Very, very, very rarely, very, very rarely is it something more significant than that. I'll play just a bit of it just so we have it on the record here, and then I'm going to wrap it up because I'm getting bored, and I'm sure you guys are too.
To manipulate public opinion.
Let me back up a little bit because, of course, we got to get the Russia angle in here.
Government systems and critical infrastructure. Data breaches that compromise sensitive information of our citizens and companies, attempts to manipulate public opinion through social media, and, of course, attacks against the fundamentals of our democratic system and process. And those are just the ones that we know about. This is a totally new kind of threat, as we all know. Our adversaries, both state and non-state actors, view the entire information domain as a battle space, and across it, they are waging a new kind of war against us.
That's a lot of projection there, but you get the general idea. And so the solution is, because government can't respond fast enough, we got to spend money on contractors. Spend.
More money, more money.
Yeah. So what do you think, Chase? You think that's going to solve our cyber problems?
Oh, totally. Absolutely. Yeah. I feel safer already.
I'm feeling pretty good about that.
I feel good now.
Yeah, I feel like we're not going to need to worry about it.
I got my McAfee all patched up. I'm ready.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, Kaspersky. Sorry, guys.
I want to cover. Before we get to our main topic of the day today, which is really a lot. There's a lot going on in Clinton's world today, and I know you'd think after the election we'd be done talking about Hillary, but there was many domino pieces that were set in place during the election, and some of those are falling down now, and so we have more and more information. We'll get into why, and some of it's why Chase's Twitter feed's on fire. But let's stop for a second and note something in the Trump category this week that happened that's really, well, it's unprecedented. And I've never really seen this happen before, but I wanted to ask you, do you recall in recent history former presidents criticizing sitting presidents, even when like Bush was really fucking up? Like, do you remember Clinton coming out and being critical about it?
No, but then again,
or Bush coming out like during like Fast and Furious and like going after Obama.
Not maybe once or twice. I mean, the problem now is we have such readily connected equipment and 24/7 news cycles and Twitter and Facebook and everything. So it's hard to go back because they didn't have the instant reach that a lot of these places do now, or these people do now. So it's hard to say.
Because it's just a different news environment?
It's totally different environment.
Well, so, okay, here's a little background on what we're talking about.
Aftermath of these terrible storms, the American people have done what we do best. We came together, we helped one another, and through it all, we remained resilient.
President Trump joining via video message as all 5 former living U.S. presidents stand on one stage raising funds for hurricane relief. United, for a night at least. Yet just on Thursday, in 2 separate speeches, both former presidents, Bush and Obama, made remarks largely perceived as against the current White House.
I don't know. I think what bugs me about it a bit is it seems unpresidential, and it seems like while we're all giving Trump a hard time for being unpresidential, at the same time we're all playing dirty. We're willing to basically do the same exact thing. It seems like if they're going out there and they're breaking sort of an unspoken protocol, or maybe it is spoken, where they go out and you don't generally criticize the sitting president. And they're just saying, well, this is a time for us to put that aside. That's the same justification Trump uses to tweet. It's the same logic.
Right.
It's just a different side of the coin. I don't know. To me, it was sort of unseemly. And I think what's driving Obama. I have 2 theories, actually. One is I think what's driving Obama is that he wants to get active in the Democratic Party again, and he's just out and about. And he's sort of
feeling it around a little bit.
He's sort of stepping up now that Hillary's losing momentum from her book tour. He's stepping up.
Well, with her books on the discount rack,
Yeah. And then I think Bush is, Bush has sort of became, I think the Bushes became a Clinton ally during the 2016 election. And so I think Bush is just sort of benefiting from anybody who's friends with the Clintons. They're now being nice to the Bushes.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
Did you hear about this? Is it pronounced Niger, or how do you
I think both are okay. Niger, I know some say.
They'll have a pronunciation here at the top here. But there was an ambush of U.S. troops there, and digging into the story, there's some kind of interesting tidbits, and I'll set it up a little bit with this first clip.
Late tonight, NBC News is learning the ambush in Niger may have been a setup, a sneak attack by terrorists tipped off in advance about a meeting between U.S. Special Forces and tribal leaders in a village sympathetic to ISIS.
So U.S. forces were meeting with tribal leaders, sort of off the record, it appears.
3 officials briefed on the matter say that's the emerging theory among Pentagon investigators.
A big part of the mission there is meeting with the locals, getting in with them, getting intelligence from them. But what this mission shows is just how dangerous that can be.
Okay, spokesperson from the Pentagon, thank you.
Today, the nation's top military officer tried to explain what went so wrong.
We owe the families of the fallen more information.
In a rare briefing, General Joseph Dunford says U.S. Special Forces, who perhaps thought they could handle the fight themselves, waited an hour after the initial confrontation.
Now, see, she interjects the speculation, who perhaps thought they could handle it themselves. That's conjecture. What it more likely is they weren't supposed to be there, and by calling for air support, they'd be revealing the fact that they were outside of a mission.
To call for air support.
Did the mission change? That is one of the questions that's being asked.
Yes, it did.
It's a fair question.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is a fair question. So we're all over the place. We're all over Africa. We got quite the presence.
Whatever happened to America first, Chris? America first!
So what are we doing there?
People are going to wonder, is this mission creep? You remember 1993, October 3rd, Black Hawk Down incident? People are going to say, is this mission creep? Has the mission been consistent?
Let me talk about the mission, and I think it's important for me to go back to my opening statement and talk about strategically what we were trying to do.
So for background, we have been there for 20 years, okay? 20 years.
In our judgment, we're dealing with global threats in Al-Qaeda and ISIS and other groups.
So that justification, Al-Qaeda and ISIS, that doesn't...
that didn't fly 20 years ago. So, what? You're just going to keep coming up with a different reason?
That is what exactly what they do.
Yeah.
And the theory of the case of our strategy is to be able to put pressure on them simultaneously wherever they are, and as importantly.
Yeah. So that means, of course, we have to be everywhere, all over the world. And if you felt bad for not knowing that we had a whole bunch of troops in Africa, well, don't feel bad, because it turns out some U.S. senators had no idea either. High-level ones.
The U.S. military and Congress try to piece together what led to the deaths of American servicemen in Niger earlier this month. It seems many lawmakers in the States have no idea about their troop presence in that African country. 3 weeks ago, a group of American and local troops were attacked in Niger by ISIL fighters. 4 U.S. servicemen and 10 Nigerian soldiers were killed in that ambush. The Pentagon says the group had no full air support until 2 hours after the battle began. According to estimates, Niger has the second largest U.S. military presence in Africa, 800 out of the total 6,000 troops across the continent. Djibouti is in first place with 4,000 servicemen.
Wow.
Then comes Somalia and Cameroon with 400 and 300 soldiers.
Now, it is perhaps tens of thousands more. I don't know the number because they just sort of infer it in the press conference, but it could be tens of thousands more that we have local quote-unquote contractors that are also working for us. So we have 6,000 U.S. military troops, and then perhaps tens of thousands, maybe even as many as 60,000 quote-unquote U.S. local contractors who are probably U.S. contractors that are just over there locally. I don't know what defines local contractor.
Respectively. However, it will soon be difficult to tell how many total troops the U.S. has across the world, as Samira Khan reports.
So it's official. Washington has intervened in so many different countries, even U.S. senators seem to have lost track.
But I didn't know there was 1,000 troops in Niger. This is an endless war without boundaries, no limitation on time and geography.
And Senator Graham's not the only one.
You heard Senator Graham there. He didn't know we had 1,000 troops in Niger. Did you?
No, I did not.
Can you believe this?
And there you have it. 2 sitting senior senators.
Let me say this.
That's Chuck Schumer.
I know, it's Chuck and what's his face? Lindsey.
Lindsey, yeah.
Is it a play, possibly, to deny that they knew that they were there to, I mean, I'm thinking, it's maybe sometimes it's safer to go, no, I didn't know, because if they say yes, that they knew that they were there, then the next question is going to be, so, Senator.
Maybe, but does it ever seem good to look? Does it ever look good to seem uninformed about military actions like that?
Maybe it's better to answer no in these situations.
Maybe
it's a strategic no.
Here, I'll give you the RT theory. The RT theory is because the presidents have been using executive action and the authorization to fight terrorism to do this, so they haven't been going through the proper levels of government.
So how's this possible?
Yeah, here's her
Past
theory.
administrations have used the authorization for use of military force against terrorists, or the AUMF, to warrant military operations involving non-state actors or terror organizations.
I think you know what it is those senators are just uninformed. They're really just uninformed political idiots is what it is. Speaking of idiots, you've been getting a lot of tweets. I sent you a telegram. I said, watch out, buddy, because your good pal,
my buddy,
Devin Nunes, is going to get a lot of tweets because he's pushing to legally get information about the financing for the Trump dossier. And that is part of a larger investigation into the uranium deal and a bunch of other things. It's just a whole web. And so we're going to take a moment and open up the Russia files once again on the show. And let's start with the uranium deal investigation.
Let's get more now on the new Uranium One investigation. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes of California joins us tonight.
So just a quick recap, I suppose, in case you don't know, the Uranium One deal is a deal in which eventually Russia gets like 20% or 25% of the U.S.'s uranium supply stock. Essentially, we give it over to Russia.
Right.
And the accusation is that, coincidentally at least, during the process of deciding, the Clinton Foundation received hundreds of thousands of dollars from certain Russian interests, and Bill Clinton was paid tens and tens and tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars to give speeches. Hillary was in the State Department at this time. This is while President Obama was in office. However, there is nothing that really conclusively links her to any decision that was made inside the State Department based on her funding. There is the fact that she received money and that Bill received money and that she's in the State Department, and the State Department was in part responsible for the decision. But it's kind of a loose association, so more investigation does need to be done. But it's one of these conspiracies that gets talked about constantly around the Clinton, and not all conspiracies are wrong.
From Statuary Hall, Mr. Chairman, thanks for being here.
Always a pleasure.
What are you looking for?
Well, first and foremost, we want to find out whether or not the FBI or DOJ or both had an open investigation at the time that this deal was approved by several government agencies called CFIUS. I don't want to get into that, but basically it had to have approval from several cabinet-level people, including Secretary Clinton.
You know, Secretary Clinton is still on her book tour. She was on C-SPAN, asked about this and the potential for an investigation. Here's what she said.
And I want to hear what you think about Hillary's response here too, Chase, because this has got to be the opinion of at least some people watching.
The closer the investigation about real Russian ties between Trump associates and real Russians, the more they want to just throw mud on the wall, and I'm their favorite target, me and, President Obama. We're the ones that they always like to put into the crosshairs. It's the same baloney they've been peddling for years, and there's been no credible evidence by anyone.
When I hear that, you know what it reminds me of?
I want to know what the edit was.
It reminds me of her response to the email server stuff.
Right.
Over and over while they were actually doing an investigation. And so Devin Nunes and friends are trying to determine if anybody inside the government was investigating the Uranium One deal. And I think probably the most dismissive response of that would be, well, Devin Nunes is a political hack. He's working for Trump, and of course he's going to go after the Uranium One deal. All right. So I did a little digging around. Was there any other perhaps smoke that could lead to this fire? And I found Jeff Sessions' testimony to be interesting. He was giving testimony in the Senate investigation into Russia about 6 days ago, and the topic of investigating the Uranium One deal came up in this hearing, and here was his response, and here's some of the question.
I want to ask a question that looks like history, but it was in the news recently, yesterday, I believe. According to government documents and recent news reports, the Justice Department had an ongoing criminal investigation for bribery, extortion, and money laundering into officials for the Russian company making the purchase of uranium-1. That purchase was approved during the previous administration and resulted in the Russians owning 20% of America's uranium mining capacity.
Okay, 20%, not 25.
What are you doing to find out how the Russian takeover of the American uranium was allowed?
How is he saying that, Chase? Russian.
He's got some issues there.
To occur despite criminal conduct by the Russian company that the Obama administration approved to make the purchase.
Mr. Chairman, we will hear your concerns. The Department of Justice will take such actions as is appropriate, I know, and I would offer that some people have gone to jail in that transaction already.
I didn't know that little fact right there.
I didn't know that.
But the article talks about other issues. So without confirming or denying the existence of any particular investigation, I would say I hear your concerns and they will be reviewed.
And he goes on to again. There's another 3 minutes to this clip. He goes on to again infer that he can't say because there may be an active investigation, and so therefore he can't comment, which would seem to indicate there is an investigation, because if there wasn't one, he wouldn't have that conflict. But the Russian investigation itself is getting stranger and stranger as time goes on.
Ed, this story has got so many moving parts, and you're right. The Russia stuff is getting stranger by the day. So as Ed mentioned, Bob Mueller's office is expanding their Russia probe, and it has now reached Tony Podesta, the brother of John Podesta, who...
Now, this was announced last week, a little bit after the show, that the Bob Mueller, the Robert Mueller, the big investigation, the really serious, legit investigation, is going after one of the Podesta brothers. What?
John Podesta, who ran Hillary Clinton's campaign. Tony Podesta runs a lobbying firm who did a public relations campaign for the Ukrainian government. The deal was apparently set up, though, by former Trump campaign chair Paul Manafort several years ago, though, before he worked for Trump.
How's that for irony? The investigation into Paul Manafort led them to Podesta. Oh, yeah, here's the more information on that.
Well, good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. We're beginning tonight with a story we just learned a few hours ago, a story that amazed us. Last night in this show, we told you about how the Podesta Group, a lobbying firm co-founded by Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman John Podesta and his brother Tony, had been sucked into independent counsel Robert Mueller's investigation of alleged Russian interference in American politics. Before last night's show was even over, we got an email from a man with direct personal knowledge of that story.
Leaker number one. Keep track of this.
The man, whose name we can't reveal for the time being, is a former senior employee of the Podesta Group. He worked there for years. He said he was motivated to contact us by the disgust he felt watching media coverage of the Russia story.
This, I think, is going to play a factor in our next story, too.
Not only were most reporters getting it wrong, he said, they were getting it backward. The Russians were, in fact, deeply involved in American politics, but the real story had almost nothing to do with the 2016 presidential campaign. Well, intrigued, we agreed to meet with that source today. He just left our offices here in Washington a couple of hours ago. The story he told us is astonishing. We'll be following up on it, confirming more of it, and bringing you details throughout this week and after.
So I'll keep an eye out for it. You can tell Cucker's really excited about this too.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, because he's supposed to be.
And I think he believes this guy's legitimate. I think he really does buy it.
Well, see, you always got to be careful here. Well, yeah, but you got to be careful here. Do you think?
You think he's just trying to Rachel Maddow it?
Well, yeah. I mean, remember the whole Rachel Maddow tax forum situation?
Totally possible.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, all I can say this: when you are, and we're gonna, to be fair, to say, Fox News is definitely, a Trump favorable news organization. Okay. You get something like this, of course you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm really interested in this.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
If somebody had the same kind of passion and said, hey, we have some real dirt and information about Trump, do you think Tucker would be even talking about it? Probably not.
Maybe not. But I think one of the reasons he's really fired up about it.
But if it's true and it's legit, then hell yeah.
Because the reason why I think one of the reasons he's fired up about it is what he's about to get into lines up with things I distinctly remember from like WikiLeaks emails and stuff. Like a lot of this stuff lines up. It kind of like checks out. So it's interesting when you hear these stories, like when you hear the Rachel Maddow one where she gets all excited about the anonymous tax returns that show up in the mailbox, and you hear this one, there's a significant difference in the kinds of details you get. So he's about to get into it. He had to do his whole build-up because he's so damn excited about it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Now here we get some information.
But first, here's an overview of what he told us. Media reports describe Paul Manafort as a central figure in the Russia investigation due to the several months he spent as Donald Trump's campaign chairman. According to our source, that's only half true. Manafort is indeed at the center of this investigation, but not because of his ties to Trump. In fact, Paul Manafort spent years working with the Podesta Group on behalf of Russian government interests. That relationship extends back to at least 2011, when our source claims Manafort had dinner in Washington with both Podestas, Tony and John. In the years following, our source says he saw Paul Manafort in the Podesta Group offices, quote, all the time, at least once a month. Manafort was not there to socialize. He was representing Russian business and political interests who sought to influence Capitol Hill, Hillary Clinton's State Department, and the Obama administration. Our source describes Manafort bringing what he called a parade of Russian oligarchs up to the Congress, where they met with members and their staffs.
Manafort is a hired gun. Manafort worked with Obama, he worked with Clinton, he worked with Podesta, and then, when it came time, he worked with Trump because he was hired by this firm to essentially help smooth things along for Russia. Manafort is a whore.
And their staffs. But the central effort to extend Russian influence was focused on the executive branch, the Obama administration. The vehicle through which Paul Manafort worked for the Russians was a shell group called the European Center for a Modern Ukraine. Now, the group supposedly was based in Belgium, but it had no actual offices there. It had, in fact, only 2 employees, both of them based in Ukraine. Their telephone number in Brussels rang in Kiev. It was a sham.
And this is all right before the government over there goes a little bit of a tumble. So Kucker lays out a really good case, and he goes on for minutes about how Manafort and the Podesta Group worked together to essentially help the Russian government or other Russian interests, not even just the government really, but large, powerful corporations. There's an old saying, and I think it was George Carlin, that says that the one true, really great product that the United States makes is grade A, homegrown bullshit. And we package it up and we sell it, and it's a top product. And everyone around the world comes to the United States to have their bullshit sold. And that includes the Russians. And Manafort is a form of that. It's not just marketing anymore. It's influencing Washington. It's getting the right people in D.C. lined up behind you. It's managing the message and making contacts with the media. And that's what gangsters and whores like Manafort make possible. He's a man-whore.
Man-a-whore.
That's good, dude.
By the way, that's System T, by the way. That's really good.
That is really good. And I just... Like, it all comes back together. It all comes back to the Podesta Group.
It makes a lot of sense.
And here's the thing about Podesta.
Yeah.
He substantially he had his own company with his brother, but that was just really to make it look like that was his own thing. He really was a Clinton Foundation employee. He worked really for the Clinton Foundation, even when she was in the State Department. There's lots of WikiLeaks of Hillary emailing John Podesta, and he's just giving her political advice. He worked with her through, and he helped hold meetings to make Clinton Foundation donors. He helped organize meetings between Clinton Foundation donors and Hillary Clinton. And then, of course, she helped get some jobs everywhere she goes. Which leads us now to this Trump dossier, which this again is thanks to your buddy Nunes,
a good friend,
as he pushed things along. They tried to get an answer to who was funding this Trump dossier.
I'm confused, Chris. I thought Devin, the Dick Nunes, decided to recuse himself from the investigation, Chris.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how that works. I guess maybe the dossier seems like it would be related to the investigation. Mm-hmm. But so him and among others tried to get they wrote letters and they tried subpoenas and nothing really worked. So they finally went to court, and the judge said, "All right, well, I'm just gonna reveal as part of this process who it was as we go through this. So it's going to come out one way or another. Either you're going to lose, or it's just going to come out in the record because I'm going to reveal it. And when the judge informed the defendants that was the case, well, they decided to take matters in their own hand and leak it. So we have leak number 2.
CBS News confirms the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign helped pay for controversial research into President Trump's ties to Russia.
So where is this coming from? Where is this big news coming from? Well, it's from a exclusive at the Washington Post. Actually, the Washington Post, because a Clinton campaign staffer, I believe, I'm not positive, ran to the Washington Post with a hell of a story. I'll play bits of an interview that Aaron had here.
Breaking news, CNN learning tonight that Hillary Clinton's campaign and the Democratic National Committee helped fund the research which led to the controversial and, frankly, salacious and disgusting in some of its allegations dossier that detailed alleged Russian efforts to help Donald Trump's presidential campaign. The Washington Post was first to report this.
Now, this is, as you know, the dossier that claimed that Trump hired hookers to piss on the bed that Obama had slept in. And this dossier made it via John McCain to the FBI. This is what the Obama administration and the FBI used to go to the FISA court and then begin domestic surveillance of some of the Trump campaign associates. This dossier is what started the entire Trump-Russia narrative. Well, I guess that's not true. The Clinton campaign is, but the dossier is what officially gave the FBI justification to begin the investigation. So much so that the FBI at a certain point began paying for the dossier to continue to be created. When the Clinton campaign stopped, the FBI picked up paying for it. But I'm getting ahead. So this dossier is one of the key pieces to this entire Russia story.
Up front, one of the reporters who just broke the story, Adam Entis with the Washington Post. Adam, good to have you back. So let's just start with the bottom line here. Clinton, the Hillary Clinton campaign, and the DNC. What exactly did they do?
Well, I mean, they have a lawyer, and that lawyer went about looking to hire research firms. One of the firms that they hired was this company in Washington here called Fusion GPS. Fusion GPS, in turn, subcontracted out to Christopher Steele, the former British intelligence officer, to help get information about Trump's relationships in Russia. Those reports that Chris Steele produced were then passed back to the lawyer who was representing the Clinton campaign. What we don't really know is how that information was then relayed to the campaign. Our understanding from talking to people who were close to the matter is that those actual Steele reports were not directly handed to the campaign. So we don't really quite understand how the information was passed, who got the information, and we, obviously we want to know, what they did with that information after they received it.
Something tells me Hillary somehow got her hands on that information. What do you think of this story? What are your initial thoughts? Is anything really too surprising here? We had
not really, because remember, I mean, first off, wasn't it Trump who said, opposition research, this is okay, opposition research, and he was, all talking about getting WikiLeaks to, say, hey, give me Hillary's emails. But now we know on this side of the coin that it looks like the Hillary campaign was doing the exact same thing in reverse, right?
It seems too like there's a piece to this they're not talking a lot about, and that is that the initial funders were also look like GOP candidates.
That's right. They're missing that very key point.
Let's come back to that. Here's a little bit of CBS's take on it.
Originally commissioned by anti-Trump Republicans in the primary, the document was compiled by research firm Fusion GPS with information from former British spy Christopher Steele.
The folks behind me got us right over the top.
But after Donald Trump's primary victory, the research didn't stop. Mark Elias, a lawyer working for the Clinton campaign and the DNC, hired Fusion GPS. His law firm, Perkins Coie, confirmed that relationship in a letter Tuesday, which says in part, Fusion GPS approached Perkins Coie in early March of 2016 to continue research that Fusion GPS had conducted for one or more other clients during the Republican primary contest.
I have nothing to do with Russia. Haven't made a phone call to Russia in years.
That's just a great line. But so, yeah, let's talk about this GOP candidate. Trump was asked who he thinks It is, and he had an interesting response.
This Fusion GPS investigation began on the Republican side of things during the primary. Do you have any idea who it was who was collecting
Well, they say it began with the Republicans. I think I would know, but I won't say. It'll be determined. It'll be determined. Look, Hillary would have never announced it was them, except for this great court case that's going on, where the judge was going to reveal it. So they figured we'll do it first. They're very embarrassed by it. It's a disgrace. Yes, it might have started with the Republicans early on in the primaries. I think I would know, but let's find out who it is. I'm sure that will come out.
Wait, I think I would know? That doesn't make sense to me.
I know, it is a weird way to put it. I think I would know is maybe his way of saying you could probably speculate I would know, but I can't say that I know. Is that what he's saying?
What the hell does that mean, man?
Czar, do you have any idea? I think I would have, if I were to
Wait,
guess.
how many thinks does he have?
I know, he's really dancing
Stop
around.
it!
If I were to
Be
guess,
direct.
I have one name in mind.
One name in mind, and I'll tell you what name that is. Bush! You know why? Because I've been saying that for what? How many months, guys? Can anybody in the Discord actually tell me how long I've been saying all of this? Everything we just played, we've been saying for how many months now? So we knew this was coming. It's interesting to see it. It's almost like this investigation is beginning to turn back in on the Democrats a bit. Because of damn Podesta and Hillary Clinton's friends, you know, her friends like Harvey Weinstein, who turns out to be a son of a bitch, or Anthony Weiner, who also turns out to be a son of a bitch.
How would
She's
it
got
make,
the worst friends, man.
how would
John
it make you-
Podesta.
How would it make everybody feel on both sides if both sides are just blown up in this?
Great.
I mean, no, I mean, seriously. I mean, you get people that are hardcore Trump fans, right? And you got people that are hardcore Clinton fans, right? And then they're so passionate about their person, and oh, Hillary, it's her time, and Trump, we're gonna drain the swamp, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear my red hat, and then all of a sudden, boom! It blows up in everybody's face. Everybody.
It'd be glorious.
Oh my gosh.
What a time to be a podcast that covers this stuff.
Please.
It's really something.
Unbelievable.
So I guess we'll just watch and see where all of this goes. It feels like a couple of people are going to fall. I wouldn't be surprised if John Podesta's brother falls and Manafort falls, and then everybody can say they were right, and you don't touch anybody that's actually important, and those guys are sons of bitches anyways. So I wouldn't be surprised if long-term, this is where this ends. That could be it. That could be the scope of it, or this thing could really unravel. And it's really just how far and how legitimate these investigations are. And we'll see. You wanna feel better? You wanna shift gears? You got anything in the sack? We could.
I have a nice.
Do you want to transition over to the sack?
Full distinguished.
I'm sorry. What?
What?
I'm sorry. What?
I have a full distinguished sack. It's now time to bring back the sack. The sack is back.
The sack is back. I
the
like
sack
that.
Is back.
That's good.
That's right. Yes.
What do we got in the sack?
Well, hey, you guys. First off, happy to be back again. Like I said, you heard my spiel at the top of the show. Really, really great to be with you. And we have a few things for you. First off, Veratuna writes in and says, "Hey, Low Sack is back, and that's a fact."
Oh my God! Really, we're doing this?
Well, that's what he said. Anyway, hope you and yours are all well after your meetup, and thoughts are with you, bud. As to what's been going on over here, I am convinced we are slipping into a dystopian world akin to many great philosophers and writers warned us of. When you have the BBC saying, quote, new terror laws would, quote, criminalize thought, Watchdog warns, you have to wonder where the hell this is all going to end. Good to see Unfilter back with its captain and first mate ready to ride the stormy seas of fearful disinformation and hyperbole till we hit the solid ground of truth. That's very tuned.
That's deep,
thanks,
man.
buddy. Landon Yargens writes in and says, "Hey, welcome back, Chase. So glad to see both of you together at the helm again." And finally, Robert writes in and says, "Hey, woot woot! Glad to have you and Chris back at the same time for an exciting show. By the way, on the live stream, is there a quick way to tell when the regular show starts? Sometimes I get online and I want to jump to the regular show and catch the overtime tomorrow morning after it's posted. Maybe you can have a different banner for the overtime portion?" So there you go. Yeah.
I mean, we do have an intro graphic, so you could skim for the intro sequence, which is about almost 2 minutes long.
Yeah. So Remember, you guys, if you want to be a part of the SAC, you got to be a part of Club 33. And if you want to join right now, we do have 3 solid
No way,
slots
really?
right now. Right now, 3 open spots for Club 33.
You guys should go for that if you can.
You can get in right now.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of which, I have some Club 33 swag for you out in the truck.
Oh, nice. Sweet.
Yeah. I'll bring it in if I can.
Awesome. So don't forget, you guys, support us over at patreon.com/unfilter. And if you can't get it in at Club 33, no worries, because you can become an investor or a supporter today, because every little bit helps, gets us to our goal.
Yeah, and also just spread the word about the show. Link it to somebody else who you think might be interested in some of our topics. Don't forget, too, if you think you just want to get them maybe just hooked on something we specifically talked about, you can send out YouTube timecode links, too.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the reasons why we publish on YouTube, even though it's a bit of a son of a bitch.
Yeah, well, especially now, right?
Yeah,
oh,
but it's useful for people sharing the show. It really is.
Chris, I've regret to inform you that your content is subjective and has been demonetized.
It is not suitable for advertisers.
It needs manual review.
No, in fact, let's break some of that suitability right now with the high note. I think we have one of these stories about once every 6 months on the show, and every time we have one of these stories, I think, damn it, why doesn't this happen to me instead of these people? These people squander an opportunity, and it drives me crazy, so I have to share my pain with you right now. I'm sorry.
And new this morning, some Amazon customers in Orlando, they got quite the surprise when they opened their package that arrived just on their doorstep.
Boy, did they. They ordered plastic storage bins, but the bins came full of 65 pounds of marijuana. The marijuana was in boxes inside the totes, and as soon as they opened the boxes, they were hit with that strong odor. They called police right away.
They were extremely heavy, more heavy than you would think just from ordering 4 empty bins. So when the first officer got there, she was actually in disbelief.
I know why she was in disbelief. You called us? I mean,
know,
really?
right?
I mean, why would you call us?
I know. I don't actually understand that.
Kidding.
No, why would you?
But seriously, though, I mean, at that point, you give it to your friend or your neighbor and be like, hey,
I guess
you
some people
do
just
something with
some
this
people
for me?
just have too much money. That's what the problem is. Some people just have, you know what? They should become a patron.
WWNSX is right. I mean, he could have opened up a medical shop,
Yeah, man.
get started. There's your opening cash right there.
Now, I'm not Mr. Sports here, but there's a former NBA commissioner who's famous for having the hardest stance on drugs in the NBA.
About Stern?
Yeah,
anytime we think with Stern.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
And Stern made himself some big news this week when he's like, "No, let him smoke pot. Let him smoke
Marijuana remains on the NBA list of banned substances, but former Commissioner David Stern said.
Now you say that with some you're not a big fan of Stern.
Oh, I hate Stern.
Yeah,
I don't like Stern, and it's not for the drug reasons. It's because of how he kind of basically. I know I'm a little sore, a little localized here, but how he basically handed the Seattle Supersonics to his rich buddy and moved him to Oklahoma City. So
he's a controversial guy.
So Stern can suck a bag, if you know what I mean.
That's why I thought it was actually even more surprising that he had such a nonchalant attitude about the pot.
Oh, yeah.
I think that pretty smart people don't know what's right and what's not right, but I think there's universal agreement that marijuana for medical purposes should be completely legal.
And he was interviewing with
Harrington has become a cannabis entrepreneur.
That guy.
There you go.
I think Mr. Chase.
Yes, Mr. Chris.
That's probably all the veggies for this week. Now we do have a little apple pie if you want to stick around for the overtime. We got a great old Nancy segment coming up. Got a little more Trump stuff. Got some JFK stuff.
Yeah.
Got all kinds of things, as well as maybe if time allows. A little more Tucker Tuckerson. I mean, just a little.
Just a taste.
I won't overdo it.
All right, fair enough.
In the meantime, Mr. Chase, if
Yes,
people got to get out of here,
yeah.
Do you have any parting wisdom you could share with them that might empower them to move forward in perhaps communicating with us?
Well, if you want to see what my adventures are in the old Devin Nunes versus me Nunes Chase Nunes saga, Nunes versus Nunes hashtag. Follow me on Twitter at Nunes NUNES. Oh! Also, by the way, I have my own little Discord, discord.gg/GeekGamerTV, and also GeekGamerTV on Twitch. Check that out.
You're an animal.
Chris, you got your vlog, video log.
There may be something in the
drone
works.
flying and
maybe
stuff.
something.
Where can people find that
There
stuff?
could be something new coming soon over at youtube.com/Chris Fisher. That's my name.
Would you look at that?
That's my name.
That's
also,
like, wow, I'm subscribed. Go figure that one out.
Nice. Also, did you know that we got the Twitters at Chris LAS? It's a good way to get a hold of me because that 140 characters, sometimes 280.
Chris, I have 280.
Yeah. So does so does the @Jupiter Signal account, the network account, where you can find out about show live times, releases, and whatnot. Speaking of live times, jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar to get it converted to your local time zone. jblive.tv is where you do it. We tend to get started. Really, the pre-show gets started around 3:30 Pacific.
Nice.
On Wednesdays. Yeah, you should join us.
By the way, great to be back, you guys. I love you, missed you.
Yeah,
it's
good to have you back, buddy.
And
It's lonely in here with just one of me.
I'm
just
thinking
one guy.
I might come back here.
Oh, maybe
next week.
Skis. All right, so let's see what we got for title suggestions. Probably something to do with Hillary and the dossier, I would imagine, since that's sort of the news of the day. But let's take a look. Skis. Banging for suggest and suggestion for the bang. Middleman Manafort's not bad either, but I don't think it's clear enough. Clinton in the library with the dossier. That's funny, Steve. Damn diabolical dossier. That's kind of funny, too. Man whores and turncoats. The Manafort Connection. Show me the money puts. Man Horde there by System T. That's good too. On the Discord, I just search for Bang Suggest.
That's the easy way of doing it right now.
And then I guess maybe, and so then people in the IRC probably did a little JB title, so I'll check that too. Clinton in the library with the Trump dossier blowback. That's Ubermind. That's closer to what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, that's actually
Nunes versus Nunes. Manafort in the middle. You guys are really on point
in the
today.
middle's good too.
Man.
Wow.
You guys are really on it.
I think we should table Manafort in the middle because I have a feeling
he's going to go down.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And if we could save that.
Geez, WW, you've got to save that.
Yeah, we got
Manafort in the middle.
Don't lose that.
I like that.
But
he's going to have to be the fall guy, right?
Well, we've already heard he's been under investigation long before even today's information. So
Trump dossier blowback's close. It's not quite it, I feel like, but I could go with it. If there was something else like
Trump dossier piss pack? No.
Yeah, maybe that is it. Maybe that's it. Manafort's following. No. I think it probably should be something with the dossier. Trump dossier blowback. Trump dossier Clinton connection? No, it's too clunky. Too clunker. It's kind of funky clunker. What do you think? What do you think, guys? You can do it. You can do it.
Pissing the night away.
So what are you thinking of Discovery?
So I've only watched the first two.
Oh.
Because after that, Catherine went out of town.
You're waiting for her.
And I'm waiting for her to get back.
Okay. Well, it really changes after the first two.
Yeah, I know. But I'll speak in generalities for a minute. The production, very freaking well done.
I was surprised.
And it's very pleasing for me to see that CBS is at least they're not cheaping out on the production value and the effects and the uniforms and the details. I think that kind of it is just I'm very impressed. So far the premise of this, I didn't like how the first two episodes kind of unrolled where, it felt like that the captain, I forget her name off the top of my head, but it felt like she wasn't really paying, listening to her first officer, like what we've seen in previous past. I'm really anxious to see how this fits into the timeline of things because they said this situation did this 10 years before Enterprise technically. So, but I'm glad. Yeah, next time plan to watch a few of them. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, hopefully the wife will be back home soon.
So dodging dossier damage, it's clever, Steve. I really think that's clever, but I don't think it's clear as to what that's about. Dossier details is a little clear by show me the money, but Do I like that better than what was the other one that was kind of the lead one? The other one that I thought was pretty good was Trump Dossier Blowback. So that's got Trump and Dossier in the title. So it's clear that it's the Trump Dossier.
The Trump Dossier.
The only thing I'm having an issue with is blowback. I think we can come up with a better word than blowback.
What's another word for blowback? Just look up antonyms for blowback.
And how do you does the define function on Google? Oops, not that. Does the define function do that for you on Google? Blowback. See, Trump Dossier collapse. What do you think of collapse?
I don't know if that fits.
Yeah. Yeah, because there could be actually things in that are true. So, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Blowback.
Whoa, that was really loud.
She sounded pretty good, actually.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, I agree. Blowback. What do you guys think? What else besides blowback? Oh, I thought that was a link.
Oh, thesaurus.
I thought that was a link. Why can't that be a... All right.
Oh, synonyms, not antonyms.
Yeah, there you go. Blowback. What? That doesn't...
Maybe blowback is two separate words. Try that.
Okay.
Enhance.
Zooming. No, that sucks. Thesaurus.com sucks. Repercussions is maybe there. Disaster. Trump Dossier disaster. Backlash. Oh man, I feel like we're close, guys. You guys are really killing it tonight. We're close. We're just not quite there. A fistful of dossiers. That's funny. Manifold in the middle is really good. I gotta save that.
Dossier whore down.
Blowback. Disaster. The nice thing is you got the double D if you go with disaster, but disaster feels too generic almost. But while blowback is also generic.
Dossier downfall.
Alexa, what's another word for blowback?
Backfire. Yeah.
Backfire might work.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of backfiring.
It is, yeah. The Dossier backfire.
That's fucking good.
Thanks, Alexa. Alexa, thank you. Alexa, thank you for your help. See, you bet.
All right, we'll give nominal credit though to Ubermind for getting us there though. We'll go with backfire though. That is actually pretty legitimate. Okay, all right. I think that's it right there, guys. We're gonna wrap it up. Thank you for coming in. Hope you enjoyed the show today. I hope you liked hanging out with us, because you know what? We liked hanging out with you.
Yeah, we are totally.
Now, I don't know what's live tomorrow, but you're always live in my hearts, right? Yeah. All right, goodbye, everybody. Stick tuned for JB Runs if you'd like. Otherwise, see you later.